Welcome to Woman Who Chat, and today I'm chatting with Clair MacKenzie. Hi, Clair.
Hi, Sandra. Thank you so much for having me here on the podcast.
That's fantastic. Well, first of all, I want to get to know a bit more about you and what you do. So why don't you give us a bit of an opening as to and tell us a bit more about you?
Yeah, of course. So I am a weight loss mindset coach. So I help women, mostly women in midlife, create a relationship with food and themselves and their lives that they love. And I work with women who are maybe unhappy with the weight that they are, and help them find a balance between eating for sort of nutrition and health and nourishment and all those things, and I say eating for comfort and pleasure, because of course, food is a great comfort and a pleasure to many of us. And so it's just about getting the balance right. So that's what I do.
Okay, so how did you get into that? What's your background?
So my background's actually business to business corporate marketing. And I'm almost 50 now, but when I was 14, for much of my 30s and 40s, I was morbidly obese. And so I had done all of the diets, lost my weight multiple times, lost multiple stones, always sort of got to a number and then gained it back. And when I did, I was always heavier than when I started. And about, I guess, sort of 2016, 2017, so 6-7 years ago now, I found a different approach to weight loss, which was actually based around life coaching. And it was all about understanding our, thoughts and beliefs and our emotions and all of those things. And so I used those tools to help me figure out what was going on, and essentially the reason why I was eating more than my body needed me to be eating. And for me, it had been probably something that I'd been doing since my teenage years, when I had a bad horse riding accident and turned to food as a source of comfort at a point in my life where at the same time I'd also suddenly become very inactive. So I eventually started to understand why I was eating and do some work around being so frustrated and a little bit ashamed because I felt so upset that I couldn't manage my weight, and sort of did some work around that and was able to create a much healthier relationship with food and also with myself. And it made such a difference to me, not just with the weight, but in all areas of my life. I just wanted to help other women do the same. So that's how I came to do what I do.
Wow, that's fantastic. And I think we could probably talk for hours. I've been on a diet or some sort of food thing since I was probably about 16. And as you say, I've probably lost in my lifetime probably about 50 or 60 stone, because you just put it back on again and more every time. And I think I'm not the heaviest I've been, but being inactive for a period of time after my broken ankle and now subsequently broken wrist, it does have an impact. And, I completely get where you're coming from. People do eat emotionally, don't they?
Yes. Yeah, no, absolutely we do. And it's understandable why we do, because we are, we sort of, when we're at school, if we, maybe we're given like, I don't know, sweets or chocolate or ice cream to treat ourselves or reward ourselves by our parents. And so it's just really understandable. But yeah, it's a part of life.
I always remember as a child, my dad grew up in the war years. So as a child, if we left anything on the plate, we were called a waster, and he would finish it off for us. Or he'd say something like, well, you're going to have that for your breakfast, and the fear of having it cold the next day. But when you grow up with patterns like that, you never forget. So I would never leave anything on my plate as a result, because I've got my dad in my ear, that memory of you're a waster. Interesting concepts.
No, my mum says exactly the same. Whatever she didn't eat for her dinner was served to her again at breakfast. So yeah, but it really is sort of, I think, helping, sometimes what I do is sort of helping people understand that if your body doesn't need that food anyway, then you're just sort of almost using yourself as a dustbin. So, but it's can be very difficult to break those ingrained habits and beliefs and sort of move past that.
Yeah, it's really funny because my children, when they were little, I didn't want them to have the weight issues that I had. So they didn't have sweets or anything till they were at least 5, till they went to school, when they thought sprouts and pickled onions were treats. So I found a different way. Now they've discovered them. But no, so what's on, I mean, you've come out of the sort of the marketing and that type of work, you've gone into this. Do you deliver face-to-face? Do you deliver online? How do you deliver your services?
Yeah, so it's all over Zoom. So I have got a membership program, which I do one sort of training session and one live coaching session each week. I also sometimes do small group programs and occasionally work with people one-to-one. So always worked on Zoom. I've done some face-to-face sort of workshops and classes, but predominantly over Zoom, which just works great for people. You can talk to people very frequently. It takes up less of their time, I think, and it works really, really well.
Fantastic. What drives you, Claire? What motivates you?
So it is knowing what it feels like to be so frustrated and upset with yourself, I think. Well, for me, it was myself. I think a lot of, we either blame ourselves or we blame, I don't know, whether we blame ourselves or our genes or our circumstances. There's so many reasons why weight loss is hard for women, especially, once you're of a certain age and you're going through perimenopause and into menopause, it does get more difficult. And it can be quite an impact, I think, on your emotional health as well as your physical health. And I experience both. And so I just want to help women who are suffering really and not happy and want, to help them find, because everyone has everything they need within themselves to create a better relationship with food. And it's just to help them find themselves back for themselves and help them do that, because I think everyone can do it.
And it's interesting you say that. What's on the horizon? What are you working on now, and what's coming up in the future?
So right now I am working on my membership program. So I'm sort of continuously looking at new ways to deliver information, new ways to engage people, update it. So I am looking at sort of doing something slightly different with that, probably launching that in a couple of months' time. So that is something that's going on right now. I also got my own podcast, as I mentioned. So that is continually working on that. So I'm actually predominantly, I've been sort of, I guess, speaking on that. It's been not many interviews. So I'm just starting to bring in some guest experts for that at the moment, which is really exciting. I've got some great guests lined up who will be on there shortly. I think that's probably about it.
It all sounds as if you've got it all planned out, which is fantastic. Do you find, I mean, you're primarily delivering online. I deliver a lot of what I do online, and I was trying to deliver online even before the pandemic, but people just didn't accept Zoom then. It wasn't, they still wanted to drive to face. I think going through that experience actually helped us. Do you find it's become such a crowded place now, the online space?
Yes.
And how are you sort of navigating that?
Yes, I think it's definitely becoming more and more crowded. And I'm very aware of it. I think being in the online space as we are, maybe we're more aware of it than others who aren't. I don't know. So it can be challenging, I think, sometimes to differentiate yourself, I guess, from a lot of others. I think with regards to the weight loss industry, one of the ways I differentiate myself from other people is probably that most people are talking about, diet and exercise and telling people what to eat and what to do. And I never actually give anybody a diet plan or tell them what to eat. I help them find how they want to eat for themselves. So that's probably the key area I try and differentiate myself from a lot of others out there. But yes, I guess whether it's online or it is a crowded marketplace, isn't it? And it is challenging, and I think also just got to be yourself. And I guess women who, when it comes to weight loss, I think it is very personal and it is emotional. And so I think you want to work with someone that you either trust or you feel you resonate with, and that's going to be different each and everybody. So I guess it's just sort of, the right people will find me, and those that for someone else, the right person will be someone else for them.
And what struck me when you started to sort of share what you did was you explained that you've been there, you've been through the journey. And I think that empathy comes across because, there's so many people claiming to be weight coaches and various other things that have never had to lose a pound in their life, or they may have only had to lose a couple of pounds to get into the next size down jeans. And you look at them and you think you don't need to lose weight. But I think having somebody that can actually, share, they understand the challenges that you have has far more impact than somebody just putting themselves out there saying, do this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because the challenge is most of us know what to eat, what to do for exercise. We know what to do to lose weight. What we don't know is why we don't do what we know will get us the results that we want. And something else that is really important part of what I say, the weight loss journey, when I'm working with people, is you can't solve your relationship with food, create a better relationship with food for life without all of the times where you overeat, emotionally eat, don't eat what you set out to eat for the day or the week or whatever it is. You have to allow yourself to get it wrong so that you can understand why it is that at the end of the day you wanted to, you know, just sit down with it, whether it's the wine or the crisps or the chocolate, which you're watching Netflix or whatever it is, and to not do that feels so difficult. You've got to allow yourself to do it so that you can understand why, you know, what it was that's going on for you in the moment.
Gosh, I just think you're the fly on the wall in my room at the moment. You know, when you said the wine, the chocolate, the crisp, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that was me at the weekend.
And the thing is, like, it's all okay. It's only if it is causing you to be unhappy or unhealthy with yours being unhealthy. So I'm not saying don't have your chocolate and your crisps and the wine, but if you're having it to the extent where it's causing you to be unhappy or unhealthy, then it's time to like maybe take a look at it and think, okay, how can I feel better in the evening by maybe doing this less often or doing something different? That's what we look at.
Well, this has been absolutely fascinating talking to you, and I could talk to you about this for hours. So we will invite you to come back and share a little bit more knowledge about what you do and how you deliver and the types of things that crop up. And that would be a fantastic follow-up to this podcast. But for now, Clair MacKenzie, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sandra. Thank you.